4:31, let's kick it off. This is meeting of the Fire Station Building Committee on May 12th, 2022 at 4:30 in the city's WebEx. Let me hit the record button. Recording. Chair statement, this meeting is being recorded. If any other persons present are doing the same, they must notify the chair at this time. Thanks, Don. Anyone else? No? Okay. Attendance, David Singer.
Present.
Butch Hawkins is present. Mayor.
Yes.
Steve Strand.
Present.
Liz Gilman. Carol Collins.
Here.
David M. On the phone.
I'm here on my phone.
Thank you. Steve Draculich.
Here.
Jean.
Here.
Amy McMahon. Not yet. Jim Nguyen.
Here.
Okay, non-voting members, Marlo Warner. George Vandelinder. Fernando Fury.
Here. Present.
Thanks. Laura Phelps.
Here.
Thank you. Chief Haig. No. Peter MacGyver.
Present.
Greg Tiefendorf. Nope. Ed Jarvis. Oh. Let's see. CMS, Neil Joyce.
Present.
Roger.
Present.
Thank you. Katrina.
Yes.
Thanks, Adam.
Present.
And Dennis Ross. You know, pretty good. Okay, the next item on the agenda is approve the prior minutes for April 28th. Peter had emailed them out. Everybody got them? Yes?
C.
See. Motion to accept minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, Jim, is there a second?
Second. Second. David.
David, thanks, David. Okay, any further discussion on the minutes? No, hearing none. All those in favor, David Singer?
Aye.
Aye. Butch? Aye. Mayor?
Yes. Aye.
Yeah. Chief?
Aye.
Yeah. Carol?
I'm going to abstain since I wasn't there.
Very good. David M?
Abstain, I wasn't present.
A. Steve Draculich?
Aye.
Aye. Gene Wall?
Aye.
And Jim Nguyen?
Accepted.
Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is budget update and expenditures to date. Neil Joyce?
Good afternoon. I will be happy to forward you the budget update as of the meeting today. We are tracking on budget. We are currently reporting costs of just over $3,050,000. It's $3,054,650 to date. Tracking at an $18 million budget, that's 17% of the overall cost. And costs incurred to date, as I previously reported, are largely consummated by the acquisition of the site, construction of the temporary fire station, and ongoing lease and rent payments for those structures, as well as design fees and OPM fees for pre-construction and design services.
Okay, any questions by anyone for Neil on the budget? Mayor?
Yeah, I want to make sure that you do go ahead and forward that to us.
Certainly.
I would like it. I assume other members would like it as well.
I'll send it out through Butch, and Butch can forward it to the committee if that's all right, Mayor.
Sure.
Okay, any other questions for Neil on the budget? Okay, seeing none. Next item on the agenda is project funding potential. Mayor Gardner has something to tell us.
Worker murder.
Well, I'm sorry that Jens Thompson isn't on the call as near as I can tell. I don't know, did she report in that she wouldn't be or?
She did.
know.
Yeah, she called and said she had probably a conflict with work.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just wanted to give her a giant shout out for referring us to the USDA. The woman's name I cannot remember. Perhaps the chief
Tricia
remembers.
Anderson.
I'm sorry, what? Tricia Anderson. Yes, thank you. USDA, Tricia Anderson, who's a New England representative from the new USDA and sort of in charge of the community facilities grant program. Jennifer was reasonably sure, because based on stuff that she does professionally, that we should be talking to this woman because they have money available for a variety of things. Some of it grant money, some of it loan money, with a very low interest loan. And it's significant amount of money. We didn't know at the time how significant it was, but it's a significant amount of money. We subsequently contacted her. She did advise us that they have money in their grant program for, I'm going to call it basically FF&E. And so furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and some minor construction, not construction necessarily of the building per se, but minor construction. So, outbuildings, that type of thing. And we expressed to her our great need for the generator, the storage shed, and help me out here. Maybe it was a miscellaneous FF&E or whatever.
Yeah, the EOC.
Yeah, the EOC. That's right. And she said, well, those things all sound like things that we can fund. And she said, so let me tell you a little bit more about the program. And a little bit more about the program was the fact that they have just under $1 million available that has gone unclaimed and needs to get spent by sometime in June. By spent means it needs to be awarded. So it's also a match. So we were a little concerned about that because we know how much that stuff's going to cost. She said, but what we mean by a match is to know that the city has committed a significant amount of money to this project already, that we're not just beginning stages, et cetera, which we told her we weren't, and that we were shovel ready. And she said, and the fact that you have committed $16 million to it will qualify as your match. So we got rid of that hurdle, which is a good thing. And we believe that we are in the process through the work of the chief and Pacheco Ross and our, who is that upside down person? Upside down. We have and Athena is doing a grant application, which will go in by May 30th. Actually, it'll probably go in last week in May. I mean, somewhere, maybe even next week. Yeah, the week of the 21st. For, I don't know, what was the final number? Around $700,000. So, and basically said we'd get it if we just get it in on time. I'm hoping she was right about that. She said nobody has stepped forward for that money. I find that hard to believe. But, it's one of those things. If we don't spend it, we have to send it back. And we are looking for a willing partner in this. So I think that was really great news. Made me feel good that we probably will have access before too long to additional money for many of the important things that we needed to have that don't have to be funded by the city of Greenville. So that's one thing. We have also applied for another grant through the Senate, oh God, I forgot, congressionally designated spending fund is the loose term of it. We were notified by Senator Warren that the time to apply for this. It is pandemic related money. The time to apply is now if we have a project going. Same with Senator Markey's office. And so we submitted that grant for 900,000, I think. Beef? Yeah. A couple of weeks ago. Specifically to help in construction of the fire station, but primarily the EOC. It's under the banner of the EOC portion of the fire station. So those are the two things that we have done, and I'm remaining very hopeful. Someone said it ain't over till it's over, or something like that. But I'm hoping.
So two critical things about the USDA. One is we have to tie it in some way to COVID, and two, we have to have it in before the end of the month because the grant application expires by the end of the month. So Katrina and Neil and the mayor and the mayor's office and her staff and the chief have been working feverishly to assemble a program for us to submit and kind of fit it within their guidelines. And after talking to Trish Anderson, she felt confident that we sort of met all the qualifications if we get the stuff in that we talked to her about. Feeling kind of good about that. And the award would be by the end of June. Okay. Any questions of the mayor on the grants? No. Okay. Keep you updated. Okay. Update scheduling for ZBA and planning. I have Katrina, but I'm going to shift it over to David Singer because there was a change here in the last hour.
Katrina, have you gotten a message from the town planner, city planner?
I have not as of.
Oh, right.
Well, I looked at my emails before I left for a site visit earlier today. So,
No, I wasn't putting you on the spot. I just wanted to know
Okay.
if you received the message.
What's the name?
Eric Turog. So anyway, the message is I'll be the messenger. The message is that there's another member of the zoning board that is in ill health for the meeting tonight. We will not have enough people to sit. So the meeting, the meeting for the zoning and the site plan review is going to be postponed until the second Thursday in June. The planning board has already heard it. You know that, Katrina, because I'm sure you were there or somebody was there. So
Yes, I presented.
yeah. So the way it works is that the zoning board hears it. They will deliberate, I'm sure, that night, make a decision. Assuming the decision is in our favor, then certain persons have 20 days from the date of the decision, and I think that the board will work hard to get the decision signed and filed quickly. So folks would have 20 days from that filing to appeal. Once the filing appeal period has gone by, that's it. There's no right any longer to appeal, and so the permit would hopefully be granted. And if you count your days, sometime in, I was saying to Butch, maybe after the 4th of July, that permit would be available. If anyone here thinks, I'll start with Katrina, if you think that timeline is not good or is too tight, then I can go back to the board and ask them if they could have a special meeting. But if it's not too tight, then they'll just leave it on for the 9th.
Okay, I did want to confirm, David, that June 9th was the proposed
Yeah, June 9th, I'm
reschedule.
sure- yeah, you'll be on first, so it's June 9th at 7 o'clock. That's what they'll post it.
Right, so the plus 20 days would put us to June 29th, correct?
Well,
Mhm.
so let's say the decision gets made on the 9th, it'll be typed up, it'll be signed the week of the 13th, goes to the clerk's office. So assume the 15th is day 1 of the 20-day counting.
Okay, so this presents a little bit of a challenge, and I'd like to ask Neil to weigh in on it, as he has mentioned previously that having the written decision of the zoning board is important to have in the bid documents when they go out. And we've been targeting the end of June, mid-June to end of June to get the packages out on the street. So Neil, if you don't mind me asking you to weigh in on this, I would appreciate it.
If what I heard is right, we would have a signed decision that would be available to us on or about June 15th. Is that right, David?
No, well, yes, the decision getting filed begins the tolling of the 20-day appeal period. So you can't do anything, we can't do anything until the appeal period has expired. So count 20 days from June, including June 15th. Count 20 days. When that 20th day is over, then the permit, it matures without the right of appeal, and then you can turn to anybody and say, yes, that permission is ours. But during the right of appeal, it wouldn't be prudent. You couldn't say to the folks in the bid package that we just have a decision without the appeal period having expired. Does that make sense? The appeal period is critical to the moving forward.
Right.
20 calendar days or 20 business days?
20 calendar days.
Okay. So it would appear to me as though we'd be in a position that we would have to hold that then until after documents theoretically were on the street, and it would have to be issued by addendum to the bidders. As long as there's no objections to that on behalf of the city, that would be our best course forward to maintain our overall schedule.
Have you had that happen before? Is this the first time you've seen this? Is this unusual?
The only difference, David, is that normally we would have a written decision in hand and go out that was binding, and if we don't have that, and we'd be looking at pushing bids until after the 4th of July, if that's what the city would prefer, we can certainly do that. We're here to serve you. If we don't go out until after July 4th, we're probably looking at August 20th plus or minus to August 25th timeframe for bids, assuming 6 weeks. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
So,
which would push us probably to a mid-September start date.
Mr. Chair, may I continue asking questions?
Absolutely.
Thanks. So again, I don't think I was paying attention so specifically to the date that we now hope to send the bids out. What date is that again?
We had hoped to get the packages out on the street by July 1st. And this was to help us maintain the pre-qualification package process.
Okay, and so July 1st gets us bids back by earlier in August, correct?
Yes.
And what would that date be?
We were aiming August 15th. It's essentially the 6 weeks.
Okay, and if we do August 15th, can we put shovels in the ground September 1st?
It takes a little bit of time. I think it would probably be mid-September. Neil, do you have any?
Yeah, I would agree. It's probably a 2-week to 3-week process for bonds and contracts and signatures to exchange, particularly with Labor Day dropped in the middle of that.
So, Mayor, may I ask you a question? I think, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I think if it came from you to the planning department that a special meeting should be held, I'm thinking with publication, it'd be tight. Something might even have to be published tomorrow, but, to try to get a meeting by the end of May or even 1 week earlier in June. But by the end, if you could do it by the 26th, but I don't know, Jim, do you know that is the posting a 14-day or a 10-day?
I can't answer that, Dave. I am gonna be out of town on the 26th. We'd have to be either anytime before that.
If I could interrupt you, Dave?
Sure. Who's that?
That's Roger.
Yes.
The meeting was already posted and advertised, correct, for today?
Yes.
Yes.
I know in case of a continuance, you don't have to repost it. That's something to check on if you need to repost it. I don't, at least from my experience, I don't believe you do.
Okay.
You're just subject to the regular 48-hour such notification.
Agenda, right. Okay, so,
Well, wait a minute.
wait a
Is
minute.
I believe you asked me a question.
It-
Uh,
You've been
I
smiling.
was about to,
We don't know whether that was good news or bad news.
I was about to ask you a question, prior to your asking me the question, and the question was, it was more of a statement. I believe we need that special meeting in order to really stay on schedule.
Mhm.
Yes, as you know, a lot of funding issues lie on what the bids are when they come in. Not to say that there's a sunset on any of that availability of money, but we need, among other reasons, we need to stay on schedule. So I get that it would be difficult. It's a bit of a tight squeeze to get that meeting set. If I understand, you have, in order to continue it, you have to meet, and you're not meeting today, so.
We are meeting.
Oh, you're meeting.
That's just not on the agenda. That's, the people will
Ah,
show up
that
at 7
portion.
o'clock. At 7 o'clock, there'll be an announcement. So maybe between now and 7 o'clock, somebody could know what the announcement might be and even start that announcement process tonight, letting the people that tuned in know that it'll be postponed till X. But
Yeah.
in any event, I'm just saying, I think it has to come from you.
Yes,
Eric,
yes, and I can certainly, the problem is Eric was planning on being there tonight.
I don't know. Probably because of this, yes, but I don't know if he changed his plans. I didn't ask.
I don't know either. He did call me today to tell me about this, so I was aware of it prior to the meeting starting. And I didn't even think to ask him if he would be there this evening. I know that he doesn't always attend all meetings, but, and he said that, you're right, I do remember him now saying that it was only this portion of the agenda that was being canceled.
Right.
So, that makes it easier. I don't know that does it, I mean, you're not going to take your word for it. Let's assume I don't get a hold of him
That's
via
fine.
email.
That's fine. You might want to call Mark Maloney
I could call Mark.
and talk it out with him. He knows the rules really
Yeah.
well, so he
I
would be
could
able
call
to.
Mark and,
Jim Wynn's on the phone right now. He might even be trying.
Chief has a question?
Yep.
Okay, it's back to you, Chair.
Yep. Chief?
So I have a question in regards to this. So was tonight the public hearing for public comment?
It's not the night for public. It's not a public hearing. It's the night of the. Yeah, it's the night of the event of hearing the matter and making a decision. And yes, there's a public hearing. The public's invited, but it's not a public hearing. It's really open to the abutters and things of that nature. So yes,
And
but the proceeding was tonight.
it's a site plan review, which
And a
doesn't
site plan review as well.
it doesn't legally call for a public hearing.
No, but this is not a site plan. All right, whatever. I
It
don't know.
would
I
have
can't, I
it would
can't say
have-
that. I can't say that. That's up to Katrina to say. I
It would
don't
have
know.
been a public presentation of the plan.
Maybe that helps everything. But in any event, Mark Maloney would know
Yeah,
how to proceed if you can't get a hold of Eric.
yeah, okay. Hold on a second and I'll see if I can catch Eric before he leaves for the day, and on the outside chance he wasn't sticking around.
Okay.
So you can move on, I guess, with the agenda.
Yeah, so we're gonna either try to, reschedule under the format that Roger talked about, or reschedule a special, or go to the regular next meeting.
ASAP is the operating
ASAP is the operating word, correct?
acronym.
So that's what we're gonna work on. Any more questions about the ZBA meeting? Let's cancel.
Butch, Jim Wynn, can I cut in for a minute?
Absolutely.
I just got off the phone with Mark. The meeting, because the people are out sick tonight, is up in the air. He's trying to check with Eric, and his opinion offhand quickly, he does not have to repost to have emergency meeting. But that's not written in stone. He's checking on that right now with the powers to be.
Perfect.
Okay?
Okay, that saves the mayor having to call.
Well,
Yeah,
I did,
call Mayor.
no, but Jim, did you say Mark got a hold of him? Because I just tried and didn't.
He's trying to get a hold of Eric right now.
Okay.
And he's trying to check to see if it has to be reposted. But according to his memory, it does not have to be reposted to have a special meeting down the road a week or so.
No, I think what he meant was that you can continue it tonight and then it
Yes.
doesn't have to be reposted.
Right.
If you were to call for a special meeting, it would have to be posted.
Right.
I'm fairly certain.
Okay. All right. Any more questions on ZBA process? Excellent. Okay, update on design and development phase, Katrina?
Okay, thank you, Chair. So as everyone should know, we did present to the planning board last week. That was great. They gave us a unanimous vote to recommend to the ZBA. So we're waiting for that to happen. We have met with Eversource on the energy incentive. Carol, I think, did you attend the meeting as well? I know I was not able to do it. Okay, so we're moving forward with that. There are a number of things that we need to keep doing with Thornton Tomasetti. As you heard from the mayor with the funding, we're trying to work on that outbuilding layout with the chief so that we can get that ready for the grant that's being written and sent in next week. We do have our package out to the estimator for the second estimate. And right now, I don't think it's due sooner than, I need to look at my calendar. It should be back on either on the 20th or the 23rd. So the week of the 23rd, I would expect that we would receive it. We'll look at it first, digest it. If there are things that we see, hey, make sure this gets fixed, we would adjust that first. But then on the 26th, which may be the building committee's next meeting, we should have an update at that point.
Any more questions of Katrina? That piece? Okay, thank you,
Can I-
Katrina.
Butch, can I ask a question? And this is
Sure,
to
go ahead.
Katrina and Carol relative to the Eversource incentive. Have we determined what path we're pursuing with Eversource? Some of their grants require the input and hiring of a commissioning agent early in the process, meaning we would be compelled to provide them ASAP, which we can certainly do. I have RFPs written, and it would just have to be advertised and solicited. So I'd ask for some guidance from you folks.
Yes, Carol, if you would like to answer.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that did come up in our meeting, and you're right on the money there, Neil. I know that we do want to engage with a commissioning agent soon. So I can follow up and just get back to you with specifics.
Okay, in the meantime, Carol, I'll send you over a draft of a commissioning proposal that we've done in the past. Understand the more services that we buy, the more services we will have to pay for. And if we are not pursuing it for lead purposes, I would ask for, again, guidance on the level of services that you need to purchase so we can highlight and appropriately describe the services that we're looking for.
Do you happen to know, I did check the budget that I found and it looked like there was 40,000 budgeted for the construction process and then a year post occupancy. There was 10,000 for a total of 50.
That is correct.
Okay. So I think I shared that and that seemed to be in keeping with what Eversource requires. But again, I can follow up and I'll look forward to that draft.
So most specifically, Carol, it would be, are we intending to commission the envelope as well as the mechanical and electrical services for lead fundamental and or lead enhanced? And are we looking for any post-occupancy services from the commissioning agent? We will require them to do a visit at 10 months post-occupancy at a minimum. And then the question is whether you want anything else, any monitoring-based commissioning services or any post-occupancy verification and sub-metering, et cetera. So it sort of opens the deep, it's like kind of like one of those Russian boxes. The deeper you go, there's another box underneath. You got to open it up and see what you get. It's the same. It's the same type of tiered services plan from the commissioning agents.
Right. And just so you know, sub-metering is part of the project, and I guess that's also required by code. I'm just the parrot here, playing operator, and, you know, that's what I heard. So that's coming from Thornton Tomasetti too. So I don't want to take up too much time here, but what you're giving me fits in with what we've already been talking about, and so I think we're good.
I'll get that
Those
draft over
details.
to you by the first of the week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any further questions of Katrina? Yes, Mayor.
Am I correct, Katrina, that I believe at the last meeting you said we would be getting new, maybe it was a different meeting that I had on this around funding, but we were getting new estimates at some point in the near future. Are we still on track with that?
Yes, I just mentioned a few minutes ago that we have our package as it is right now out to the estimator.
Okay.
So they are going to turn that around in 2 weeks. We should have it in our hands on the 23rd of May.
Okay.
Hopefully, you know, as long as there's no hiccups, we'll digest it, you know, make sure there aren't any adjustments that need to be made before we share it with the group, which we should be able to give that update on the 26th.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Katrina? No, seeing none. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the railroad property update, Mayor.
Okay, well, the railroad's still there.
They are.
I have reached out to Mr. Twiddle today. It was unfortunately a little later in the afternoon, so I have not gotten a call back from him yet. And what I need to talk to him about is the possibility of getting permission to move the poles, if I understand correctly, to that property, whether we own it or not. The issue around acquiring that property is that, you know, we gave them two options, and they liked, one of the options was to basically purchase it for a friendly price, like $1. And the other option was to try to do some form of land taking, which is not what we wanted to do. And we told him that. And we said we prefer option one. I'm sorry, option two. Option one was the land taking, what he was calling a friendly taking that they would not oppose. And so, and option two was, let's enter into a purchase and sale, which is a much quicker process than the other one. Let's enter into a purchase and sale for, a friendly price instead of a friendly taking. And they chose option one. So we pursued that and discovered that there really is no such thing as a friendly taking. We either would have to take it because they weren't paying their taxes, and in fact they are paying their taxes, or we would have to take it by eminent domain, with the understanding that they would not oppose that. I haven't presented that to him because that's what we were going to talk about today, along with us asking for at least some authorization to be able to move the poles to that property. So I don't know what their answer is going to be. An eminent domain process can be a fairly lengthy process, from my understanding from it with lawyers, but it's only it's primarily lengthy when a property owner that is being the property is being taken from opposes it, which in an eminent domain situation you have the right to do. And whereas we're having nice conversations back and forth with them, there is a possibility that they would still choose the eminent domain piece and they wouldn't oppose it. But that's still lengthy from what I understand. I just don't know how lengthy. But either way, I mean, let's say that's the only way we can go to get them to play ball. I mean, this is the way I'm looking at it. Either way, we still need permission to move the poles to their property. So I'm going back to him with two requests now, again.
Right. So just to sort of bring folks up to date, there's two issues with the railroad. One is the poles, if we move the poles onto their site and open up the lot. The second issue is that 15-foot strip creates a problem for Katrina and company, because that would create a situation where they would have to put a retaining wall on the street side of that property and add some fill to sort of balance out the site, which will cost more money and create a situation. So those are the two issues. Katrina, I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, why it's so important that we try to get this piece wrapped up with them one way or the other.
I'll try, Butch. So for the grading portion of it, so currently, on the south end, it's essentially the edge of the pavement, which is, what the vehicles are using for when they return. If they can only back in from the east, which happens with 3 of the bays on the building, they have to use that paved area to back their vehicles into the building. On the west side, we're using pretty much the whole footprint for the outbuilding, for parking, for the propane tank, which is underground, all of the site amenities that we've got built in there. But in order to keep a level enough surface at the building for the trucks to go in and out, we are already putting fill on the property at that end. Okay, if you remember from earlier discussions, we sank the building in at the Main Street side to try to help even it out. There's one ramp in the building to help mitigate how much fill is going into the project. If we had the ability to even out the grading at the south end of the property onto the what's right now the railroad property. That would be a much smoother transition and less construction cost than having to put a retaining wall at the edge of that pavement. Okay, so if we had no access and there wasn't, we need access somehow to build the wall. Yes, you can build from the inside. It's not easy, but it would be wonderful to have at least some access onto that land, even if it's temporary
Hmm.
for the construction, and certainly for the pole situation.
But the poles would not be temporary.
No, the poles would be a permanent situation, my understanding, and Neil or Roger could update us on that. I believe it's only the cable company that's got wires on that pole, but the pole is still owned by Eversource. So
Verizon.
I don't think Verizon had anything on that pole.
Oh, okay.
Comcast does. I think they have a fiber line, and then there's a secondary power line that goes through there. Ironically, I believe it only services 2 floodlights at the gas station and 2 floodlights across the street at the Chevy dealer, which seems like they could reroute those.
It sounded
like-
like from the conversation parts that came back to me, it sounded like Eversource was going to reroute power to those fixtures some other way. They were not going to use the pole anymore.
Right.
That's correct.
So the issue is still Comcast.
Yeah.
Um,
So I shared this conversation with the chief this morning. My past experience with Eversource has been when there are other member utilities that occupy their pole and the poles are either replaced or relocated, the coordination of those utilities is performed by Eversource and not by the client. That said, we've initiated contact with the gentleman that met us on site and talked to us about the service, and we have asked him for that clarification so that we can just be assured that either we need to jump on it and coordinate it with whether it's Comcast or Charter or GSET or whoever owns that fiber. We'll coordinate with them or Eversource will coordinate them to get the service relocated. And we're still in that discovery process now.
Right. So does that help you, Mayor? Sort of fill in any gaps that,
Yeah, it does. I'll, like I say, my phone has it wrong, so I don't know if he's just
right.
waiting to call me back tomorrow, but I won't wait for him. I'll call him tomorrow.
Okay. Any more questions on the railroad property, the Eversource transmission poles? Okay, we're working on it, but it is important to kind of get to an end game here, one way or another with it. Okay, next item on the agenda, the big one, the pre-qualification subcommittee report. Neil, I think, Neil or Steve?
Thanks, Butch. So I'll just do a quick summary of where we are. As you may or may not recall, public construction projects valued over $10 million in cost are required to go through a pre-qualification process. This process was begun in late January with the advertisement and solicitation for contractor qualifications. They were done under 2 separate pre-qualification requests. One was specific for general contractors, and the other one was specific for 14 trade contracts that are identified in the statute, commonly known as the filed subbid trades. So in the end of the day, I believe that there were 65 packages that were received. We received 10 general contractor proposals, and the balance were spread among the sub-trades. After extensively working with the subcommittee to evaluate these contractors based on their qualifications, The qualifications were divided into 3 categories. The first one was the project management, ownership, and similar project experience. The second category was both performance and credit references. And the third category was their level of commitment to both prior revenue, meaning revenue stream over the past couple of years, as well as future commitments that would detract from their ability to service the project. Point values were assigned for each of the individual criteria. All of the proposals were evaluated using the same guidelines by the subcommittee reviewers. And at the end of the day, I am requesting the committee's authorization and approval and to accept the recommendation of the subcommittee to pre-qualify at this time all of the responding firms. All firms were able to meet the minimum requirements in each section, as well as the overall minimum requirements to be pre-qualified for the project. There is one exception. One general contractor at this point in time has presented some supplemental information that we would ask for the committee to hold off on making the recommendation on the one firm. But the balance of the contractors, we would ask for the recommendation. And if it pleases the committee, I apologize for the repetition, but I'd like to just go down and read the contractors into the record and their total score on the pre-qualification for acceptance. In the category of general contractors, BW Construction received 85 points, GNR Contractors 88 points, Daniel O'Connell and Sons 94 points, J&J Contractors 88 points, M. O'Connor Contracting 93 points, WJ Mountford 96 points, PDS Engineering and Construction 88 points, DA Sullivan and Son 84 points, Fontaine Brothers 84 points. Those are all the general contractors that have pre-qualified as of today. Masonry contractors, Fernandes Masonry, 94 points, Kenny Masonry, 85 points, Marmello Brothers, 93 points, LeGrand Masonry, 85 points, Sullivan and Neri, 83 points, Cantarella and Sons, 86 points, Capasso Enterprises, 88 points, WJ Mountford Company, 96 points, Champlain Masonry, 88 points. Under the category of miscellaneous metals, Capone Ironworks, 93 points, United Steel, 94 points, Avid Ironworks, 96 points, EDM Construction, 83 points, SMJ Metals, 89 points. Waterproofing, damp proofing, and caulking, Armani Restoration, 98 points, Superior Caulking and Waterproofing, 100 points, East Coast Air Barrier and Restoration, 82 points, PJ Spillane and Company, 90 points, Capasso Enterprises, 88 points. Under roofing and flashing, Capeway Roofing, 80 points, Greenwood Industries, 98 points, Rockwell Roofing, 98 points, Silktown Roofing, 83 points, Titan Roofing, 96 points, Stanley Roofing, 90 points, JD Rivet, 80 points. Under glass and glazing, Greenfield Glass, 91 points, Kapolof's Glass, 98 points, Prudential Door and Window, 93 points, Chandler Architectural Projects, 92 points, Lizotte Glass, 88 points. Under ceramic tile, Ayotte and King, 98 points, Capital Carpet and Flooring, 95 points, M. Frank Higgins and Company, 88 points. Joseph Cohn and Son, 81 points. Under acoustic ceiling tile, there was one respondent for central ceilings. Because we only received one respondent, that section of work will be open to all general bidders qualified for work by DCAM under acoustic ceilings. Under resilient flooring, Ayotte and King, 98 points. Capital Carpet and Tile, 95 points. M. Frank Higgins and Company Incorporated, 88 points. Under painting, King Painting, 93 points. Northeast Painting Associates, 71 points. MG Painting Contractors, LLC, 86 points. Celtic Painting, LLC, 81 points. John W. Egan, 89 points. Under fire protection, Cogswell Sprinkler, 95 points. Hampshire Fire Protection, 95 points. Carlisle Engineering, 100 points. SRI Fire Suppression, 100 points. Under plumbing, Adams Plumbing and Heating, 88 points. BG Mechanical Contractors, 90 points. Edward F. Cochran Plumbing and Heating, 93 points. Under HVAC, Adams Plumbing and Heating, 96 points. BG Mechanical Contractors, 95 points. General Mechanical Contractors, 96 points. Edward F. Corcoran Plumbing and Heating, 96 points. And lastly, under electrical, Collins Electric, 88 points. Universal Electric, 95 points. Wayne J. Griffin, 100 points. Energy Electric Company, 95 points. And Goodless Electric, 93 points.
Okay, thank you, Neil. Just for a reference point, should we take a vote to set aside the company that we're not going to pre-qualify today?
We have not asked Butch and have not named that company in the request. So they are omitted, and if the information that's presented garners further review, we'll revisit them at a second request.
Okay, excellent. So then is there a motion to accept the companies that did pre-qualify?
So moved.
I motion.
Second,
Second. Okay, any further discussion on the companies that pre-qualified?
is this where I could ask a question?
Sure.
Or-
Yep.
So is it now based on each category, whoever scored the highest points in those categories? Or is
No.
it, it's up to
No,
you
those-
pick the general contractor?
Nope. So the way that it works is that these contractors will be invited to participate in the bidding process, and selection would be based on the lowest responsible and eligible and responsive bidder. So from here forward, it's essentially price-based among this group of contractors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Neil? Okay. The vote. All those in favor of voting the pre-quals,
You might want to do a
say
roll.
aye. David Singer?
Aye.
Butch, yes. Mayor?
Yes,
Okay, Chief Strahan?
Yes.
Carol Collins?
Yes.
All right, David M?
Yes.
Okay, Steve Draculich?
Yes.
Gene Wall?
Yes.
And Jim Nguyen?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous of the members present. I just want to say that that's a tremendous amount of work that the subcommittee did. It's a grueling process, so my hat's off to the subcommittee. I believe it was Neil, maybe Dennis, Steve Draculich, the chair, Greg Diefendorf.
Peter and Greg?
Yeah, Greg Diefendorf and Peter MacGyver. And thanks very much.
We can't forget Laura in procurement who had to handle all these things.
Oh, definitely can't forget Laura procurement. So, and that's a big piece, and that's a big piece now that's behind us, which is great.
Good job.
All right. Moving on, temporary fire station update. Is there anything, chief?
No updates.
No updates. Any questions for the chief? Seeing none. New business. Any new business that we might have missed? Yes, Mayor.
I wouldn't call it new business per se, but just letting everyone know that the meeting room 2 in the city hall is now fully Zoom capable. So we can we'll be able to hold in-person meetings there. And Katrina and company and Neil and company could certainly still be online. It has the capacity to be hybrid. So, it's certainly everybody's, I assume the committee's preference as to whether to do in person or not, but it's available to people. And if for whatever reason as a committee member, you couldn't be in person, you can certainly get on the, be on hybrid as well. So that was just to let you know, that's now that's up and running. So we could hold, I mean, so is John's on, as we know, but, this way, it's a smaller room. There's not that many of us. We would certainly want to accommodate any members of the public. It would limit the number of members of the public that could be there. But, if it were in that room, because it has a capacity of, I forget what, the chief will know. Any one of the firefighters will know, 40 something.
But they could still be online.
And that's correct. The public could still be online as well. And I don't anticipate that, but you never know, that we need executive sessions, but there are ways to hold executive sessions as well.
Okay. Amir, so maybe I'll just post them as hybrid and on the WebEx in the future then.
Well, not WebEx. It'll be, hybrid would mean it's Zoom. Just so you know, the WebEx, and I can't ever remember the date, but WebEx will go away at some
Okay,
point in the very, very near future.
so it'll be Teams
But
or
we'll be,
Zoom or something.
Fernando, if you're there, and you can speak up, because and Caitlin will know. So whenever we get ready to schedule one, she'll say it's now going to be a Zoom meeting.
Okay, and we'll send out an update then to members on that.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions on that? Okay. Time for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Hey, David.
Yes.
Here. Butch, yes. Mayor.
Yes.
Chief. Strahan.
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
David M.
Done.
Steve Drackledge.
Yes.
Hey, Gene Wall.
Yes.
Thank you. And Jim Wynn.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. See you on the
Thanks.
26th.
Bye.
Bye.
Good evening.
Bye.
Thank you.